The Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office is the major factor in our county criminal justice system's perpetuation of the evils of mass incarceration, economic inequality, and trapping people in poverty. If we are serious about challenging the racism perpetuated through this system, we must fundamentally change the way our county prosecutor's office functions. The key question before us is whether we're going to continue to perpetuate our system of mass incarceration, through which a large percentage of African Americans live under the bondage of incarceration, parole, and probation. It's the heart of what Michelle Alexander has called the new Jim Crow, because of the way such a large percentage of our population has been rendered second-class citizens because those with felony convictions are legally discriminated against in such areas as housing, employment, education, and citizenship rights. The only alternative to mass incarceration is a restorative justice system, a system where we deal with serious crimes differently by focusing on the harm done to crime victims, the factors that led people to commit their crimes, and what they need in order to not commit such crimes again in the future. We will only end mass incarceration by applying restorative justice principles to more serious crimes. While using restorative justice practices for minor crimes will help people to not commit more serious crimes in the future, it will do nothing to divert people away from prison if they've already committed serious crimes. This is in fact not very different than what we already do in this county, where we have a variety of courts on the district court level designed to help rather than punish people. For example, the drug, sobriety, mental health, veterans, street outreach, and mental health courts. However, we have nothing like these on the circuit court level, which are the courts that deal with more serious crimes and sentence people to prison. One national study found that something like 40% of families in this country could not easily come up with $400 to post bail. This means that throughout the United States, except where it's been abolished, cash bail often causes people to lose their jobs because they cannot afford bail and may not be able to miss work. If people are deemed to be a danger to others, they should not be able to get out of jail just because they can afford to post bail. If they are not, they should be trusted to appear for their court appearances unless they have repeatedly failed to do so in the past. In order to overcome the kind of institutional discrimination we find being perpetuated against low-income people and people of color, we need a systematic approach where we track where discrimination is happening in our criminal justice system and then come up with solutions to overcome it. For example, one key issue is the way the current prosecutor's office overcharges people, coercing people to plead guilty to charges whether these people believe they are innocent or not. Thus, again and again in our county, people are charged with 4 crimes, often for the same incident, and then must plead guilty to 2 of the lesser charges. This means that in the 98% of cases that are resolved through plea bargaining, it can make a huge difference whether or not you can afford a private lawyer. Because if you can afford a private lawyer, it's likely to reduce the number of charges you have to plead guilty to and/or reduce their penalties. Many people plead guilty to charges because they feel they can't take the risk of being tried for more serious charges without a private lawyer. The result is that the poor often accumulate multiple felony charges for the same incident. This also means that should they ever get into trouble again in the future, they will usually be charged as habitual offenders, where each past conviction vastly increases the penalties they'll receive for any new conviction. Transforming our criminal justice system will be a long and difficult process. We need to follow the lead of what progressive prosecutors have been doing around the country to dismantle the racist and classist practices we find in our criminal justice system. We need to be willing, ready, and able to implement these reforms which are so needed here in Washtenaw County. Thank you.